Hi, welcome to our channel of IGNOU audiobooks, Indira Gandhi National Open University, Certificate, Postgraduate Certificate Programs, Certificate in Organic Farming, COF, BAP-001 Introduction to Organic Farming, Block-1 Organic Farming, an Overview, Unit-1 Principles of Organic Farming. 1.0 Objectives. This unit aims at making you understand the importance of farming and organic farming in particular. After studying this unit, you should be able to distinguish organic farming from the other farming systems and learn the objectives and principles involved in organic farming. 1.1 Introduction. Farming is the intervention of man in the growth cycle of plants, animals or birds to get utility products of choice at maximum levels and of highest quality. The growing and caring of plants is called crop husbandry, and that of animals is called animal husbandry. Farming is our most basic activity. It is considered as the backbone of Indian economy. Farming not only nourishes the whole population, but also provides a means of livelihood to more than 60% of our population. Our history, culture, and community values are embedded in farming. Today when we think of farming, what comes to our mind are long stretches of farmland, farmer tilling the field, pumping water into fields, applying fertilizers or pesticides, plants with so many fruits, tractors with loads of farm produce, crossbred cows, a farm chicken. Overview aquaculture, fish and so on. A more advanced image on this subject will be of the small plantlets in conical flasks or test tubes, what we call tissue culture, high-yielding varieties, HYV, genetically modified, GM, crops, greenhouse farming and other techniques that increase the crop yields. So all these activities are considered as the products of science that our scientists were able to develop over a period of time and help the growing population to meet their food requirements. 1.2 The science of modern farming. Now let us examine the science of modern farming that enabled much of the developments in the present-day agriculture. In independent India, more food production was needed to meet the growing food demands of the population. This increased demand for food had forced many countries like India to adopt various improved techniques and cultural practices like the use of high-yielding variety seeds, chemical fertilizers and pesticides to increase the farm production. This surge in production of food grains as a result of adopting hives, chemical fertilizers and pesticides is what we call the Green Revolution. The objective behind Green Revolution was the production of more food per unit of land within a short period of time. Chemicals in the form of fertilizers and pesticides play a major role in Green Revolution. Plants' nutrients are drawn up from soil for growth and development. There are more than 90 elements present in the soil, according to the criteria of essentiality of nutrients for plant growth, proposed by UNO and Stout in 1952. Only 16 are considered to be essential for plant growth. Out of these, C, carbon, H, hydrogen, 0, oxygen, N, nitrogen, P, phosphorus, K, potassium, Ca, calcium, Mg, magnesium, and S, sulfur, are called macronutrients, required in large quantities, and the remaining 7 elements, Fe, iron, Mn, manganese, Cu, copper, Zn, zinc, B, boron, Mo and C1, are called micronutrients or trace elements, required only in very small quantities. Among the macro elements, N, P and K are called fertilizer elements or primary nutrients as they are most often applied in the form of synthetic or mineral fertilizers, and Ca, Mg and S are called secondary elements which are applied in smaller quantities than primary nutrients and required subsequent to primary nutrients. Pest and disease incidence in plants has become a major hindrance/bottleneck for crop production. Use of hives along with chemical fertilizers has increased the menace by making plants more succulent and thereby attracting more pests and Disease-causing pathogens. Toxic chemical pesticides. 1. Insecticides are used for controlling pests and diseases. Diseases are mainly caused by plant pathogenic fungus, bacteria or virus. These are also controlled by chemical fungicides, antibiotics, bactericides, etc. Most of these chemical pesticides are non-biodegradable and are highly toxic in nature. Prolonged and overdose of these chemicals are hazardous to human health, soil, and environment. The food we produce now contains the residues of toxic chemicals that are harmful to our body. The air that we breathe is not fresh, as it is highly polluted with harmful chemicals. There are also unusual phenomena like acid rain. The excess chemical from the field get washed off by rain, reaches water bodies and affects aquatic life. Water that is available for drinking purpose also contains traces of that chemicals and they can damage health and internal organs. It is farming. Estimated that over 20,000 people die in India every year due to exposure to toxic chemicals. Many new diseases are reported in humans, animals and plants. The scientists are unable to resolve them. Ecological imbalance and environmental pollution have adversely affected farming and farm products. This calls for corrective farming practices that can produce sufficient quantity of food without harming the environment. Here comes the relevance of the organic farming, which is a traditional, viable, low-input using and sustainable method of agriculture to produce healthy food. It also helps to reduce environmental pollution and can strengthen the natural resource base. It ensures sustainable farm production. 1.3 Development of organic farming. Throughout the 1950s and 60s, the main thrust of farming was on increasing the crop and animal productivity so as to satisfy the immediate needs of the growing population and to attain food self-sufficiency. Organic farming was not viewed very favorably by the scientists or farmers. By the end of the 1980s and especially in the 1990s, organic farming came to the forefront in response to the growing awareness of environmental conservation issues. Many new organizations were formed by reducers, consumers and other groups interested in an eco-friendly lifestyle more in tune with nature. These organizations draw up their own specifications governing crop production, right from sowing to the final stage of reaching the consumers. It was in the 1990s that organic farming really took off when the production grew up along with the consumer interests in its products all over the world. Today farmers in the developed and developing countries are encouraged to convert their farms to organic farms. Organic farming is one of the fastest growing sectors of agricultural production and plays an important role as an alternative and safe food production process. It includes all agricultural systems that promote environmentally, socially and economically sound production practices. This system assures the production of high-quality food while conserving the soil fertility and enhancing its fertility. 1.3.1 Role of international organizations. The formation of the International Federation of Organic Agriculture Movements, IFOAM, in 1972 gave an international framework to the discussion and codification of collective principles and procedures of organic for them. It brings together organizations from all over the world that are involved in organic production, certification, research, education and promotion. Its specifications and standards are indicative and act as guidelines to the state-of-the-art methods of production and processing of organic products. FA0 and WHO have declared that international guidelines on organically produced food products should be considered important for consumer protection and trade facilitation. The Codex Alimentarius Commission, an international food standards body jointly formed by FA0 and WHO, has developed guidelines for the production, processing, labeling and marketing of organically produced food. The Codex guidelines are important for equivalent judgment under the rules of World Trade Organization, WTO. 1.4 What is organic farming? The word organic means living, earth-friendly or of plant or animal origin. It contrasts with the farming wherein chemical inputs are used. It also denotes the produces that have been produced in accordance with certain norms and standards during cultivation, handling, processing and marketing stages. It is certified by a certifying body. Sometimes the term organic agriculture is used in place of organic farming. There is no difference in the meaning of these terms. In general, people consider that it is the kind of agriculture that is based on application of organic manures, natural inputs, and pesticides of plant origin. For others, it denotes the agricultural systems that follows the principles and logic of a living organism in which all elements, soil, water, air, plants, animals, farmer etc., are closely linked with each other. Organic farming includes all agricultural systems which promote production practices that are environmentally, socially and economically sound. It considers the local soil health as a key to the successful production. By respecting the natural capacity of plants, animals and the landscape, it aims to optimize quality in all aspects of agriculture and the environment. Thus, organic farming helps in attaining an eco-friendly and sustainable farm production. 1.4.1 Definitions of organic farming. The coinage of the term organic farming is credited to Lord Northbourne. The term is derived from the concept of the farm as living organism which he describes in his book Look to Land, 1940. He described organic farming as a holistic and ecologically balanced approach of agriculture. The term organic is best thought of as referring not to the type of inputs used, but to the concept of the farm as an organism, in which all the components, the soil minerals, organic matter, microorganisms, insects, plants, animals and humans, interact to create a coherent, self-regulating and stable whole. To define the concept of organic farming, we may refer to the definition developed by the Codex Alimentarius, on the basis of inputs received from experts from different countries. According to the Codex, organic agriculture is a holistic production management system which promotes and enhances agro-ecosystem health, including biodiversity, biological cycles and soil biological activity. It emphasizes the use of management practices in preference to the use of on-farm inputs, taking into account that regional conditions require locally adapted systems. This can be accomplished by adopting cultural, biological and mechanical methods wherever possible as against the use of synthetic materials. According to the International Federation of Organic Agriculture Movements, FOAM, organic agriculture is an agricultural system that promotes environmentally, socially and economically sound production of food, fiber, timber etc. In this system, soil fertility is seen as the key to successful production. Working with the natural properties of plants, animals and the landscape, organic farmers aim to optimize overview quality in all aspects of agriculture and environment. The United States Department of Agriculture, USDA, has defined organic agriculture as an ecological production system that promotes and enhances biodiversity, biological cycles and soil biological activity. It is based on minimal use of off-farm inputs and relies on farm management practices that restore, maintain and enhance ecological harmony. Conceptually, all these aspects and dimensions are integrated harmoniously in organic farming and can be operationally defined as the systematically and functionally integrated and balanced farming system facilitating best yield expressions and substantial automatic regeneration. 1.5 Concept of organic farming. The concept of organic farming is based on related aspects like organic concept, holistic concept, living soil concept and healthy plant concept, where nature is perceived to be more than just an individual element. Read this farming system. There is dynamic interaction between soil, plant, human beings, animals, ecosystem and environment. It is more of a process-based farming approach where the quality of produce is given importance. Farmers are encouraged to convert their existing farms into organic farms. A farmer willing to go in for organic farming should further understand the broad areas covering these concepts. 1.5.1 Organic concept. The term organic is not directly related to the type of inputs, fertilizers, hive, seeds, labor, etc., used, but refers to the concept of the farm as a living organism, in which all the supporting factors such as the soil, microorganism, living creatures, plants, animals and human beings, interact to create a healthy environment for the plants and animals to grow and produce healthy food for the human being. Every operation a farmer does in his farm is evaluated against ecological, economical and social imperatives with an awareness of local and global implications. 1.5.2 Holistic concept. The holistic concept is to view the agro-ecosystem as a whole in relation to the farm. Farmers are aware that their action in one sphere can affect other parts of the ecosystem for better or worse. They take advantage of the biological cycles and interaction between animals, plants, soil and climate. These are fundamental to enhance the ecosystem's productivity, health and efficiency. Basically, organic farmers attempts to work with natural cycles rather than disrupting them. 1.5.3 Living soil concept. The productive capacity of soil is linked with its health, which in turn is influenced by the humus or organic matter content. The humus is the most dynamic component of a living soil. It plays an important role in shaping up the soil's physical, chemical and biological properties. Regular replenishment of humus after harvest of a crop and its maintenance at optimal levels are of primary importance into sustaining the productive function of the living soil. Apart from being a storehouse of many plant nutrients, the humus improves the soil structure, activates soil life, minimizes the leaching loss of nutrients and strengthens farming natural resistance of plants against pests and diseases. On the other hand, chemical fertilizers in the absence of humus or inadequate levels of soil organic matter will impair soil structure, disturb soil biotics, cause unfavorable changes in soil reaction and weaken the natural resistance of plants against adverse agroclimatic conditions and pest and disease attack. 1.5.4 Healthy plants concept. In modern farming, the high-yield varieties have displaced the diverse and locally adapted indigenous cultivars. As these high-yielding crop varieties are with narrow genetic base, they are more susceptible to pest and disease attacks compared to the local indigenous varieties. This has resulted in a spurt in the incidence of pests and diseases, necessitating increased use of pesticides. Prolonged use of the pesticides against a particular insect helps it in developing resistance to these chemicals. It also kills many of the naturally occurring predators and parasites, which are biological pest control agents. In many cases, pests that caused minor damages in the past have become major threat in the absence of natural enemies. This is termed as pest resurgence. Similarly, in plant diseases too, spraying of fungicides had resulted in building up of resistance by harmful pathogens and microorganisms. The buildup of higher levels of these toxic chemical residues in the plant, food, atmosphere, soil, groundwater, and other water bodies is the most serious health and environmental problems associated with the continued use of chemicals. Thus, the organic farming is not mere growing of plants and animals, but it needs a thorough understanding of various principles and prudent management of on-farm resources and process.
1.6 Principles of Organic Farming. The principles of organic farming reflect the potential contribution this farming system could make to the world, and holds out a vision of how all agricultural system should function in the larger context. The four principles as delineated by IFOAM are: the principle of health, the principle of ecology, the principle of fairness, the principle of care. Each principle is articulated through a statement followed by an explanation. These principles are to be used as a whole. They are composed as ethical principles to inspire action. 1.6.1 The principle of health. Organic agriculture should sustain and enhance the health of soil, plant, animals, humans and the planet as a whole. This principle underscores that the health of individuals and communities cannot be separated from the health of ecosystems. Healthy soil produces healthy crops that foster the health of animals and people. Health is the basis of the wholeness and integrity of living systems. It is not simply the absence of illness, but the maintenance of physical, mental, social and ecological well-being. Immunity, resilience and regeneration are key characteristics of health. Organic agriculture enhances the health of ecosystem and organisms. In particular, it is intended to produce high-quality nutritious food that helps to ensure preventive healthcare and well-being. In view of this, it should avoid the use of harmful fertilizer, pesticide, animal growth drugs and food additives that may have a bearing on health. 1.6.2 The principle of ecology. Organic agriculture should be based on living ecological systems and cycles. It should also support and sustain the ecosystem and environment. This principle anchors organic agriculture within living ecological systems. It states that production is to be based on ecological processes and recycling. Nourishment and well-being are achieved through the ecology of the specific production environment. For example, in the case of crops, this is the living soil. For animals, it is the farm ecosystem. For fish and marine organisms, the aquatic environment. Organic farming and pastoral and wild harvest systems should fit in the cycles and ecological balances in nature. These cycles are universal, but their operation is site-specific. Organic management must be adapted to local conditions, ecology, culture, and scale. Inputs should be reduced by reuse, recycling and efficient management of materials and energy to maintain and improve environmental quality and conserve resources. Organic agriculture should attain ecological balance through the design of farming systems, establishment of habitats and maintenance of genetic and agricultural diversity. Those who produce, process, trade, or consume organic products should protect and nourish the common environment, including landscapes, climate, habitat, biodiversity, air and water. 1.6.3 The principle of fairness. Organic agriculture should build on relationships that ensure fairness with regard to the common environment and life opportunities. Fairness is characterized by equity, respect, justice and stewardship of the shared world, both among people and in their relations to other living beings. This principle emphasizes that those involved in organic agriculture should conduct human relationship in a manner that ensures fairness at all levels and to all parties: farmers, workers, processors, distributors, traders and consumers. Organic agriculture should provide everyone involved with a good quality of life and contribute to food security and reduction of poverty. It aims to produce a sufficient quantity of good quality food and food products. This principle would insist that animals should be provided with the conditions and opportunities of life that accord with their physiology, natural behavior and well-being. Natural and environmental resources that are used for production and consumption should be managed in such a way that is socially and ecologically just and should be held in trust for future generations. Fairness requires system of production, distribution and trade that are open and equitable and account for real environmental and social costs. 1.6.4 The principle of care. Organic agriculture should be managed in a precautionary and responsible manner to protect the health and well-being of current and future generations and the environment.
Organic agriculture is a living and dynamic system that responds to internal and external demand and conditions. Practitioners of organic agriculture can enhance efficiency and increase productivity, but this should not be at the risk of jeopardizing health and well-being. Consequently, new technologies need to be assessed and existing methods reviewed. A good understanding of ecosystem and agriculture is a must for exploiting it. This principle also states that precaution and responsibility are the key concerns in management, development and technology choices in organic agriculture. Science is necessary to ensure that organic agriculture is healthy, safe and ecologically sound. However, scientific knowledge alone is not sufficient. Practical experience, accumulated wisdom and traditional and indigenous knowledge that are tested by time, offer valid solutions. Organic agriculture should prevent significant risks by adopting appropriate technologies and rejecting unpredictable ones, such as genetic engineering. Decisions should be transparent and participatory and reflect the values and needs of all who could be affected. 1.7 Let us some UP. Global awareness of health and environmental issues and concerns over the quality and sustainability of agricultural production have led us to focus on organic farming. From the traditional farming to a more scientific farming method, the concepts and principles of organic farming are well defined and internationally accepted. Organic method of farming is now considered as the best option to ensure air, water and soil around us unpolluted, leaving the environment safe for the present and future generations. Thank you. Subscribe to our channel for more updates, and we will see you with the next chapter.